welcome to the Real CP Show. I'm your host, CP. And today's topic, many very dangerous illegal immigrants and pseudo border break illegal immigrants. Nonviolent ones. Arrested in Minnesota. Many other places as well. But don't look at that. Yeah, they want people to act like they don't see what's going on. And the situation that's going on in Minnesota, this is a gigantic agenda. They want to have open borders, people. Right? Now, when you hear something about some kind of Black Americans doing something, especially Black American males doing something, even though 9,000% of Black American males are not committing criminality like that, oh my goodness, we got to do something about that. Well, that'll defund the policeness. Oh, we can't be talking about that. It's a training issue, right? But at the same time, when it's going, we're talking about the bad seed versions. But at the same time, you got a situation with the ICE situation. Then it's across the board. We got to sit there and defund. We got to defund ICE.
Oh, brings it here into the barrel. Oh, I see nothing. I was not here. I did not even get up this morning.
Right? See, they're like this. They're like they don't see nothing. They say, "Oh, we there like they don't need no ICE at all." You understand that? These little sinister, these little demonic tactics that are continue to keep playing. Their system again was open borders. There are people from certain sections of immigrationists, certain section of I don't want to go there, certain types of cultural biases and etc. Right? Some people that have some border break illegal immigrant family members and friends, personnel that want to break border immigration laws when they became overstayers, right, from the visas. See, there's just all kind of situations going on in this. You got people that want to sit there and infiltrate the various political disestablishments and put various types of immigration personnel, want to put various types of Hispanicism, want to put sexuality and white Asianism once applied to, right? You get the point. They want to infiltrate various political situations with tetherness, right? The ones that cosplay Black Americans on the outside, but when it comes down to sit there and saying, "Hey, man, Black Americans have been constantly going through Black pain for centuries. What are you going to do?" Right? Oh, hold on, by the way. Let me show you what they're going to do. Right? When you start talking about what are y'all going to sit there and do to help out Black Americans that numbers of tellers keep cosplaying, what are you going to do?
Exit station left.
It's funny, but it's not. Right? Because again, there's some sinister dynamics going on in Minnesota. Minnesota's the ground zero that people are trying to use border break illegal immigrants, right, to sit there and come up with some agenda. They're trying to use, again, Renee Good and Prete, two Anglo-type personnel. One was white adjacent, right? They're trying to utilize them because the border breakers by themselves, it wasn't quite catching on the way the system wanted. So now they want to use one Anglo one, right, that had a rough-looking masculine wife, and she thought she was big bad toward the ICE agents. Then her wife was trying to run over ICE agent and trying to use Prete, which Prete is not what people think he is. They try to portray him as a certain way, right? The white adjacent one, right? Oh my goodness, because in their various people's mentalities, especially ones within the various ones of the Panama-based culture, they're saying, how dare anybody takes the life of an Anglo person or Anglo adjacent personnel for breaking laws or interfering with laws. How dare? Now, if you want to sit there and commit Black pain upon those silly ass Negroes, we don't care. Right? So this goes. So let me go ahead and share this. Let me start this for a second. I want you to keep this in mind too for a second. Remember, Black Americans have been going through Black pain for centuries, right? On that. But at the same time, and Black Americans, not one is an illegal immigrant. Not one is an immigration personnel, right? You see how that goes. And there are a lot of people that are jealous of that situation. You understand? So let me go ahead and show this particular part on this. 1 second here.
Who walked out of the Democratic convention formed their own party.
The Southern revolt against President Truman reaches its climax at Birmingham under the states' rights banner.
The so-called Dixiecrats nominated the South Carolina governor Strom Thurmond as their presidential candidate.
There's not enough troops in the army to force the Southern people to break down segregation and admit the Negro race into our theaters, into our swimming pools, into our homes, and into our churches.
Carolina Governor Strom Thurmond as their presidential candidate.
There's not enough troops in the army to force the Southern people to break down segregation and admit the Negro race into our theaters, into our swimming pools, into our homes, and into our churches.
Do you hear what he said? Now, this was the governor of South Carolina, strong, super segregationist, anti-black American Strom Thurmond. Oh, there's some people that know about him. And it's unfortunate. There's quite a number of immigrationists, quite a number of border break illegal immigrants, quite a number of other people. Oh, they have no idea about them, right? But the hatred he was showing, along with various other ones within the plant-based culture who had the same mentality about toward Black Americans. And you what he says, hey, it's not enough people in the army to basically to stop them from keeping segregation, to keep the Negroes out of churches and schools and stuff like that, right? But you say something about National Guard there in Minnesota or whatever other places. Oh my goodness, or ICE personnel. Oh my goodness, you get the F out of here. You said they go what? Interesting, they ain't saying nothing about saying how those personnel say they're going to predominantly Black American neighborhoods. Well, those Negroes always committing criminality. You said that goes, right? Even though the majority of Black folks, 99%, are not committing criminality like that. Even though the number one people who commit the most crimes is not Black Americans. It's personnel within various sections of Panama's culture. You said this goes, right? You said this goes. Oh, the game is real. Let me play this for a second.
All right, tonight, investigators, they're looking into why an undocumented immigrant had an assault rifle and this large stash of drugs inside an emergency family shelter. NBC 10's Malcolm Johnson joining us live from Revere with more on who federal investigators say is behind the gun and drug charges, Malcolm.
Well, investigators say the suspect illegally entered the country last year, JC, but they don't know where or when. And they say that he'd been staying here at this hotel turned emergency shelter, allegedly.
Do you see that? Border breaker illegal immigrant don't know anything about this border breaker illegal immigrant, and however tens of thousands and millions of border breaker illegal immigrants. And right now, they're just waiting on whatever the light switch to be turned, right? To get boop, 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 to get set there and citizenship. And that will be the end collectively of anything dealing with any type of true voting power, even though collectively this system don't give a damn about Black American votes collectively. They just take advantage of collectively Black American votes. No tangibility, no tangibilityness at all for Black Americans collectively. No, they got the coons and sellouts and ones that are gatekeeping and stuff like that. But they'll jump over chairs and fall over planes, sitting there helping out border breaker illegal immigrants. And oh my goodness, no, look at these kids on detention facilities. Give a damn about these they being used as pawns, right? What about the parent of parents who are sitting there putting them up as pawns? Who's taking care of these kids? Unaccompanied minors? What, they just popping across the border not knowing nothing? These people already got these little kids, 4 years old, 5, 8, 10 years old, 12 years old. Oh, you think they just go across the border themselves? They don't know nothing? These people already had plans before they even had let these kids go. This is what you say. This is what they're gonna do overall. Here's some telephone numbers to call. These people are playing games. Now you think they're gonna let Black American kids go across the southern borders, illegally, right? And regurgitate the same thing? Of course not. You think these same people gonna allow Black Americans to go across that border and sit there and be like, hey, we're just trying to escape political violence, physical violence. We in fear of our lives or our family lives. And they're just going to let them come, Black Americans, go across that border, right? Free and clear, right? And demand in front of whatever parliament, legislation across that southern border, or make their ways to different other countries and stuff like that, and demand comprehensive legal immigration to somebody's country and getting freebies. And then they sit there, the American black women pop out these kids left and right across that border, and the other countries, bam, 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 and they get automatic citizenship. And then they put themselves in various political figures, go to different colleges and stuff like that, getting in-state tuition. Other places they're getting free tuition. You think that really gonna freaking happen? The game is the game. It's like you can't unsee this stuff when you see through this stuff, right? Let's continue.
With guns and over 200 grams of drugs in his possession. On December 17, 2024, Revere police responded to a call from this Morris Street Quality Inn.
When they arrived there, they learned of a gentleman up in a room on the 3rd floor. They may have in his possession an assault rifle.
An assault rifle, fentanyl worth over $1 million.
So we're just going to pretend we don't really see what we see. This is a border breaker legal immigrant having this. All that fentanyl, an assault rifleness, and whatever other stuff he had that they didn't even find. Right? At this supposed to be wink wink emergency facility, basically for however immigration personnel. For however border breaker legal immigrants. That's reparations, by the way, people. Non-earned reparations for these kind of people. All this money that's been given to border breaker legal immigrants, all this money and resource that's been given to numbers of immigration groups, entities, and etc. The list goes on, but they tell Black Americans to get over the past. I mean, the ignorant audacity, but it's brilliant because it's a siege. And they like these silly, stupid Negroes by the multi-millions, with few exceptions. They just allow us to say anything to them. That's the silliness of these Negroes. Like the mentality is something that's messed up in their mentality, these silly Negroes. We're coming over to their country that they helped build. And the only thing that predominantly various mainstream media overall and some other different people and some anti-Black American type ones, that people that had these podcasts, certain podcasts and major figures, people know what I'm talking about. They spread anti-American Black hatred, et cetera, right? But they sit there and don't have that same vile hatred internally toward their own people who commit the most crimes. You said this goes, and to these border breaker legal immigrants, immigration personnel, get all these freebies and resources and popping out these kids left and right, bam, 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 right? Automatic citizenship in the U.S. based upon the 14th Amendment Constitution that was supposed to be about for Black Americans to have about time across the board. Citizenship, which should have been done first of all, because Black Americans are the only non-immigration group personnel in society in a collective way. But you got people saying, oh, we had a thing to do with slavery when it's like reparations time. Do you understand this game plan? They can find money, resources to help out border breaker legal immigrants, right? They can find money, resources to help out other different countries' backgrounds. Ukraine giving all that multi billions of dollars resource, wherever it is, to Ukraine, however much money, you know, where that money is going to, right? How many other different groups and places they sit there helping out and things like that, right? Helping people rebuild their countries and places and etc. But at the same damn time, you say, hey, man, what about resources for Black Americans? We ain't got no money. We ain't got anything to do with that. We ain't got anything to do with slavery. I mean, golly.
Bricks of cocaine and smaller amounts for sale are what investigators found on the 3rd floor in the room of 28-year-old Leonardo Andujar Sanchez.
28. Right? 28. Huh? White wannabe white Hispanic version by that name.
Of the Dominican Republic.
Of the Dominican Republic. To my non-Afro Dominican Republic, right? Now, we're not going to get into the ones that have some self-hatred. We're not getting into all that. We're not talking about some of the good Dominican Republics type person who know who they are, which is interesting. One side, Dominican Republic, the other side, what? Haiti, which is Hispaniola. And you see what's going on with how they're treating various parts of the Haitian personnel. Where's all that pan-Caribbean love at? Where's all that Pan-Africanism at, right? All the brothers and sisters supposed to have this Africanness in it as well. Where's all that Pan-African love at? I don't think so. Because 50-some plus countries have their own type of things. They'd be like, we ain't got time to be thinking about that. You understand? What about the Pan-Caribbean love? Well, don't be trying to put us in that. Don't be trying to put us in some generic Caribbean island situation. We have our own thought pattern, our own culture, our own government, our own type of beliefs. We have our own type of way we do stuff. No. But Black Americans, no, you stupid Negroes, you call yourself, we want y'all to call yourself, everybody's people, right? Basically, right? Call yourselves Africans. What? As if, right, centuries, they put Black Americans on plantations, Jim Crow law all over the place, lynch all over the place because they're Africans. I mean, you don't go there. Play that game with somebody else.
This gentleman was clearly a threat to public safety. A lot of women and children and people there in kind of, dire circumstances. They need help. They need assistance.
The hotel serves as an emergency family shelter that's run by the state.
The remaining people that were in the emergency shelter were kept safe because the majority of people in that shelter are looking for safe housing options. We're going to make sure that if we hear or see bad things happening, that we're going to intervene.
Tonight, the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities says there is zero tolerance for criminal activity in EA shelters. We took immediate action to terminate this individual from the EA system, and we confirmed with federal immigration officials that they have lodged a detainer. Revere City Councilor Juan Jaramillo.
I want you to listen to this little dastardly white Hispanic. His aura speaks of bionistic pro-Hispanicism, right? To hell with Black Americans and what they're going through mentality, right? I want you to understand this. Just listen to him.
Says this is an isolated incident.
Right? The Department of Justice has run a study on crimes and immigration, and overwhelmingly documented and even undocumented immigrants commit much less crime than U.S.-born citizens.
You see this fool? You see this fool? This demonic fool? That's not even a dang point. He wants people to be like, no, is he himself the product of DACA program? Is he the product of border breaker legal immigrant mother, father? Is he the product of certain type of immigrationists? You see this goes. They have no patrioticness to America. They only are to put in positions for their own people. I mean, however on that, right? But the problem is that when you start being for pro border breaker legal immigrants, pro people breaking immigration laws all over the place, violent and non-violent. The act is if a person's non-violent, but they're border breakers, that means nothing. No, they're scamming, getting over people, getting over resources. That's not criminality. Now, Black Americans, they don't matter what they do. Oh my goodness, black on black crime, or black folks always doing criminality. Do you understand this? And that's why I said unfortunate, because it's so many within American Blackism, modern day, by the millions, with few exceptions, have been sitting there and lulled into a sleepness type of mentality about what's truly going on, right? And all these different groups out there sitting there getting over many types of Black Americans, many, with very few exceptions, because all these different things going on, and still the internal Black pain trauma, right, that continues to keep happening, some larger than others, some dormant, some others many times not, but get no reparations for centuries of Black pain. But same time, again, money, resources, etc., can go toward border breaker illegal immigrants, immigration personnel, helping them start up businesses, having people go to college, all kind of stuff, and how many programs you really we couldn't even truly fathom that the type of training and resources given to various types of non-Black Americans. Oh my goodness. But this fool was trying to sit there and deflect. This is some sinister stuff. So now I want you to keep this in mind. Just keep that in mind too a little bit.
If people care, they pay attention, and they see how many people are not okay with what they're doing right now, I would hope so. So I just really hope it makes a difference.
This was the scene from most
most of the evening in National City, droves of people took over much of Highland Avenue.
You see this fool up here dancing? This is a Mexicano, by the way. I did a podcast on this, right? Where they were basically anti-legal immigration. And I want you to keep this in mind when you're watching this. This is the United States of America, right? This is not Estados Unidos de Mexico, right? Now I want you to stop and think. If this was Black Americans going across that border and tearing shit up, and they had an American flag and marching and jumping on police cars and going against immigration personnel, and you know how that's going to end, right? Let's keep that in mind.
Testing recent immigration policies and actions. Good evening, and thank you for joining us on this Friday evening. I'm Kimberly Hunt.
And I am Wale Aliyu. From the beginning of the demonstration, we were there. ABC 10 News reporter Ava Kirshner watched as the demonstration evolved and took on different forms throughout the night.
The colors red, white, and green have taken over Highland Avenue here in National City.
Here she said red, white, and green. That's the flag color of Mexico, right? And see, oh my goodness, I would roast the heck out of people that play some little sour little tactics, because I asked the question and I've done it. Well, explain, what does a Mexican flag stand for? When did it come to existence? Huh? A few hundred years ago, there's no such thing as Mexico. The last great civilization you would call, and what we call Mesoamerica, would have been the Aztecs, right? Until Hernan Cortez started whipping and whopping various Aztecs and allies when they came over 1519. So 1519, the Aztecs would have not called Mexico, Mexico, by the way. See, if you don't know the power of history, see, people just tell you any damn thing. And they try to tell Black Americans they don't have no history. How the hell Black Americans ain't have no history, and Black Americans have been the foundation of America, right? But how many types of Mexicanos are themselves confused or where exactly they come from within the Mexican dynamics, right? Because Mexico's flag wasn't even done or created by a Mexican, by the way, right? So you have to understand the games. So you got people walk around the Mexican flag and they don't even know their own history. But at the same time, have the nerve to have a Mexican flag in America?
Protest to the increase of immigration and customs enforcement across the county. They tell me they want to turn their fear into action and make their voices heard.
A peaceful protest quickly growing in size. Highland Avenue being swarmed.
That's in the section of California, by the way.
With people.
I see a lot of youth, which I'm happy to see here, that are...
Immigrants make America great. Stop separating families. I'm telling you, if I could open up more American Black mentalities and say, these people are salivating and slapping the hell out of millions of American Blacks, with few exceptions. When you see stuff like this, immigrants make America great. How the hell are you going to make America great when they weren't even around like that in 1776? Since this is 250 year anniversary of America, Mexico wouldn't even be like that. You understand? In 1776, the three largest populations in America were what we call white or white adjacent, what we call Native American, whatever that's supposed to mean, and blacks or Black Americans. That was it in 1776. And we call Native Americans, they weren't building America like that. So that's out the question. And which Native Americans talking about? You didn't hear no Comanches getting along with the Arapahoes getting along with the Mississippians, and Mississippians getting along with the Seminoles. You get the point. The Cattle Indians get along with the some kind of Virginia Indians, right? You heard the Hopi Indians jumping up and down with certain type of natives in Wyoming. Do you understand this? But they just sit there and just say Native American like that's some monolithic culture. Do you see this game they keep playing? Black Americans built the foundation of America beside with certain sections of the Panamese culture. However, Black Americans were the were the glueness of Black American, not immigrant. Right? When we talk about Ellis Island, that's late 1800s. You understand that? The Civil War was before Ellis Island. You understand? Slave codes that were going in the 1600s easily, before various immigration groups even came to America. Before what we call certain type of white Asian groups, the ones it applies to, because the main personnel in Asia, Asian, whatever that's supposed to mean, because that means dozens of countries, by the way, with thousands of islands, but we're not going to go into all that, was Chinese. And they really wasn't starting to come over here, and they still would barely a smatter of demographics until the gold rush in 1840, 1849 in California. Prior to that, you still had even a smattering of lack of Chinese or Asian personnel in America prior to 1840s. Do you understand? You Mexicans in 1776 wouldn't even been even a thought pattern. 1600s, you still talking about colonies, man. In America, colonies. No such thing as Mexicans. But numbers of Black Americans were still within America in the 1600s, not immigration personnel. Do you understand how insulting these people are doing this stuff?
Out here supporting.
Oh, and by the way, to my stop separating families, but they have no problem with how many Black Americans have been separated from their families by bad seeds. How many Black Americans have been separated, their families left and right, by clan, by bad seeds, again, people, by bad laws, by bad policies, by bad legislatureness, right? How many Black American males and some Black American women have been wrongfully accused of criminality, right? And are the number one most exonerated group in America's history is Black Americans. Huh? But they don't want to talk about it because they don't give a damn about Black Americans. They only want to use Black Americans.
I see a lot of families with
Look at that.
kids. I see a lot of older people as well.
Most spreading their message proudly.
Proudly to have a Mexican flag in America. Do you see this insultingness?
We're here to speak for the people who cannot speak, and we're here to stand up for the right.
But some breaking out into a fight on Highland Avenue and East 14th Street. Demonstrations like these have been ramping up since President Trump's federal immigration policy threatened to deport undocumented immigrants living in the United States.
Do you see this? The insulting. See, California is basically ground zero for certain Hispanicism, especially certain Mexicanos. That's ground zero. I'm not going to that in this topic show today, but it's ground zero. How many Black Americans have been jumped and unalived and assaulted by a certain type of Hispanicism, especially within certain type of Mexicanos, who it applies to up there? Oh, don't get it confused. How many certain type of white Asian is the one it applies to, right? Because it's only a certain group within the caste system of Asianness, right? I'm not going to that in this topic, even discussion of Black Americans going to certain stores, certain Asian stores, and being eyeballed and assaulted and etc. Be it the Eastern Coast, be it the Western Coast, etc., right? Central Coast, you get the point. Oh, it's easily been shown that of the anti-Black American hatred by various types of Asianness, the ones it applies to, right? But again, the number one Hispanic groups, immigration is Mexicans, right? I ain't talking about some of the good Mexican brothers and sisters. Those are small. There's a certain type of machismo-ness within certain type of Mexicanos that they come over here more and more because, again, they are trying to infiltrate various places either. I mean, they're trying to infiltrate various areas as well. People, but again, this is not the topic show today. So let me stop there here. Now, I want to set that direction up. Before I do that, watch this.
I don't believe this is happening.
Only fools refuse to believe the truth.
Only fools refuse to believe the truth. Now, with that being said, let me sit there and show my screen on this last thing I want to show. Also, now, see this right? Make sure you can see this. Now, remember, Trump is the boogie man, right? However, personnel don't like, that's not the point. Because say, for instance, when the 2028 election comes up, he can't run for third election. And the system already knows who they want to try to get in there. And by the way, when they are going to get, I'm saying this right now, today is February the 1st, 2028. 2020, oh my goodness. February the 1st, 2026. And they are going to put a hybrid sectionality of a certain woman in office. Not some particular woman who is going to be open. They're not going to play inclusive games. They're not going to do all that. They may say it in front of people, but there's an agenda for feminism that they are wanting to bring even more into the U.S. And they're going to do it in a very near future. That's almost guaranteed. I said almost, unless the supremacist system said, no, not quite yet. Oh, but they're going to get a woman in office. I'm telling you, they're going to get a woman in office. And they want either an Anglo woman, because it will be a slap in the dang face, well, then for a certain type of Anglo feminist to have a non-Anglo as a president. That's a slap in the face. And even though you may have some personnel that will like Kamala Harris, how many of them like, we don't want her in office? That's a pseudo Negro, right? She may try to play Negro card, even though her mom was Indian and her father Jamaican, but how many times she probably tried to play in between black stuff and HBCU stuff and black and all that kind of stuff. But when it came down to it, you're like, what did she actually do for Black Americans? Huh? And then when she was asked the question, what are you gonna do for Black Americans? I ain't got anything to do with black. I ain't got anything to do, basically, I ain't gonna do anything specifically for Black Americans. But they want the foundational people to help out the legalization of the marriages. She's right there for proness of that, right? Do you see how this insulting stuff goes? So anyway, let me the Trumpness. The quietness when what's his name, when Biden was in office and they had record-breaking, border-breaking illegal immigrants. Record-breaking, right? Gigantic resources given freebies to border-breaking illegal immigrants. Record-breaking how resources given to immigration personnel to help them out first. Record-breaking. Even though Biden was like, hey, Black Americans are basically the people who helped me get in office, right? And when it came down to sit there and what you gonna do for Black Americans for that? Nothing, right? He went on one of these shows. I'm not going to say the name of the show. It's not the important part, because some people say he's a coon, the super seller anyway, because he's paid off anyway. That's one of the problems going on too within certain types of Black Americanism. There's some extra coons in there, unfortunately, some gullible ones. And so in this show, Biden basically, he was asked by this particular coon sellout. It was a good question, but that is just playing. They're playing genericalities. But this was a good question. But then with the question, after the question he asked, and Biden was like, this right before the election, basically, I think it was. And basically, Biden was like, if you have I'm paraphrasing, if you have a problem or you don't basically know who to vote for, Trump or basically Biden, you ain't Black. Good dang. Not that if you vote for Trump, you ain't brown. If you don't vote for Biden, you ain't down, right? If you vote for Trump, you ain't yellow. If you vote for Trump, you ain't Jawish. If you vote for Trump, you don't know the difference between who you vote for Trump or Biden, you ain't Asian enough. Do you understand this game? If you don't know who to vote for between Trump and Biden, you ain't woman. No, he said you ain't Black. Dang. Nobody gets disrespected like this ever in America's history at this level. And they know millions within American Blackism, modern day, just sit back and tolerate this kind of disrespect. This is why, again, collectively, so many people disrespect Black Americans, and they can't get Black Americans out of their damn mouths, right? Be it tethers, be it non-black people of color, minorities, people playing black and brown nonsensical games, people playing black and Asian nonsensical games because Asia's a continent, but they just play that generic ass Asian tactic as if there's some kind of pan-Asian love, because you got numbers of Afro-Asians and some other slight melanatedness of certain Asian groups, right, and various Asians that are not treated equally by the numbers of white Asianness. You see how these game goes, right? And again, we ain't gonna talk about white Hispanicism, right? So as you said here, under President Trump's leadership, ICE has arrested members of some of the world's most dangerous criminal gangs in Sanctuary, Minnesota. Let me repeat this again. Hold on for a second. 1 second. Under President Trump, and this, I take it. Give me a second. Funny here. It says January 14th. Hold on, let me go up a little bit more. January 14th, 2026. Under President Trump's leadership, ICE has arrested members of some of the world's most dangerous criminal gangs in Sanctuary, Minnesota, meaning that they offer pro-border break illegal immigrants, right? Now, golly. So they are more like many. I did a podcast on various types of sanctuary cities. So these sanctuary cities are about protecting border break illegal immigrants first. But if you start talking about Black Americans, what we're going to do about protecting the Black Americans? Well, I mean, we don't have time for that. I mean, we got other different issues going on. Do you understand how insulting the hell that is? You have many types of sanctuary cities in America protecting border break illegal immigrants, protecting however immigration personnel, et cetera, et cetera. But when it concerns protecting Black Americans from centuries of Black pain, they're like they don't know nothing. But Negroes, I mean, Black folks, this vote for us. Damn, boy. All right. The criminal illegal aliens, members of the criminal gangs, like you see this violent gayness, extremely violent gayness, extremely violent games, super extremely violent gayness, and more, have extensively wrapped, you got to watch those words do matter, watch the word, rap sheets that include homicide, sexual assaultness, weapons crimes. ICE has arrested several gang members, many convicted of violent crimes in Minnesota. These are the worst of the worst criminal illegal aliens that ICE is targeting and who rioters, agitators, and sanctuary politicians like Tim Walz and Jacob Frey are trying to protect in quite a number of however people within Anglo-Minnesotans, and some sprinkling of some coons and sellout Black Americans there, and some other immigration personnel. You get the point, right? Several of these dangerous criminal legal alien gang members have been arrested during Operation Metro Surge in Minneapolis. We've arrested over 2,500 criminal illegal aliens in Minnesota since starting this operation. With DHS said this particular person, we're picking up the worst of the worst offenders. And as these cases come in, we're finding that a significant number of illegal immigrant aliens basically rearrest, in addition to having serious criminal histories in the U.S. and abroad. And abroad, people, how many of them have criminality big time in other countries? I've did several podcasts on that. I've done several podcasts on that, where they came over to America, fled to America from trying to hide from their criminality over there. I mean, violent criminality, doesn't matter, violent and non-violent criminality, scamming, etc., fled to America, right? And some of them, numbers of them, have been naturalized. And how many of them sit there and go to the border, regurgitate the same darn thing, right? Regurgitate the same thing. I'm in fear of my life. We're trying to escape political violence, physical violence, as if centuries of Black pain, Black Americans have been doing the same thing in America. And they're fleeing to the country that's open arms. The system, do you understand, is allowing the number one country overall who allows more immigration personnel is America. Do you understand? There's a game going on, people. There's sinister games going on. And it's definitely against Black Americans. And the time is clicking of the finishing up of collectively Black Americans in about half a generation to one generation. That's all. We're picking up the worst of the worst offenders. And as these cases come in, we're finding that a significant number of the aliens, border break illegal immigrant aliens, indirect and direct, rearrest, in addition to having serious criminal history in the U.S. and abroad, are part of the dangerous gangs and terrorized communities all over the nation. See below for the list of dangerous criminal, illegal immigrant, border break illegal immigrant, gang members that ICE has taken off a Minnesota street. And it don't matter if it's nonviolent people. Who gives a damn? That's breaking immigration laws. Can Black Americans nonviolent go to other countries to break immigration laws and say, we're not doing anything violent? They'd be like, get the hell out of here. You still breaking immigration laws. The games that people keep playing. It's disgusting, but it's brilliant. Because they say it's not enough Black Americans that understand through these games. And unfortunately, many within Black Americans, with few exceptions, have been asleep for quite a little bit of time relating to immigration issues and border break illegal immigrants. Quite a number have been asleep. Now, credit given to the few amount of Black Americans who are actually seeing through this stuff, but it's a little too late collectively. Because there are multi-millions of border break illegal immigrants. And by the way, if you combine immigration personnel and border break illegal immigrants, and you combine those two, they make up more in demographics of Black Americans. It is almost over with. If anything dealing with Black Americans, the only thing that's really holding Black Americans in certain situations is a few amount of Black Americans that are seeing through these tactics. But unfortunately, it's going to dwindling because Trump is the glue that's making people get pissed off. Again, if Kamala was in there, oh, you best believe there have been more super feminists, there have been more Sister of Chaos members. It'd have been a whole different dynamic. And there'd been more illegal immigrants, border break illegal immigrants in this country. Do you understand? See through the games. Many will not. And the system knows it. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'm just going to show you something. This is personnel, right? A criminal alien from what? From El Salvador, and known MS, you see the word, he has been convicted of homicide, drug trafficking, and selling amphetamines. He was also arrested for aggravated homicide in El Salvador in 2011. So he was already an extreme violent criminal, border break illegal immigrant beforehand. But this is what, however, people, Renee Goods type people, Prete type people, right? A sprinkle of some Black Americans, the naive ones, a small amount, but it's still enough for them. That's protecting, want to protect people like this. Do you understand how embarrassing this is? Whatever this guy, a criminal illegal alien from Burma and former member of the, you see, now we're not going to get into the insulting of this. Remember, when you see this right here and you see the word the Bloods and you see the word this one, and however back in the 90s where those two major groups fighting each other and too many lives are getting lost, black males' lives were getting lost with each other, and some Black women too, right? And the system wanted that because economics is the name of the game as well, right? And they said, hey, y'all destroy each other, right? We don't want y'all building anything, right? Buying some neighborhoods up to make Black empowerment. No, we don't want you to do that. We want you to hurt each other, right? And then I say Black and Black crime, Black on crime. See the game, right? Does he look Black American? Now, some people can pass, but we're talking about the name, and that's very small exceptions, by the way. But this right here is obviously not Black American. This is a white Asian, or wannabe white Asian. And to know that he had belonged to this South Side, you see this, is an insult. He wasn't even alive when this is really kicking off. Godly. Who's been convicted of 3 counts of felony drug possession, 1 count of misdemeanor drug possession, and fraud. He's also been arrested for vehicle theft and DUI. And Burma, as much as them people going crazy toward the Burmese people, how many have left Myanmar, basically what it is. And they've been opening the door up for them to come to America, get immigration help, right? How many have been naturalized citizens, right? Resources, freebies. Do you understand this game? This guy right here. Does this look like innocent guy? Does it look like somebody would want to have humanity? And you got numbers of Howard personnel within Panama's culture up in Minnesota and however other places. And again, some sprinkle of some naive within certain blackism mechanism, the one applies to, right? With few exceptions, that want to fight for this and however immigration groups, entities, right? You get the point, except more. They're trying to fight for this. Do you understand? This is an insult toward American black ancestors, by the way, too, as well. A criminal illegal alien from Mexico and an active member of such and such gangs who's been convicted of felony, dangerous drug charges, misdemeanor assaultness, smuggling, synthetic narcotics, other drug possession charges, possessing fraudulent immigration documents, possessing fraudulent immigration documents. But we don't pretend we don't see this. And 2 counts of felony illegal reentry, which is a felony. Now, you let black Americans go across that border in Mexico without the proper documentation and overstay your visa over there even for a couple of months and see what happens. They're not playing that game. Look at that face. Does that face look like, again, someone who's about humanity? Huh? And they're saying black and brown. Oh, let me say this again. Does he look like somebody that's talking about black and brown? Stupid ass game. They keep playing this stuff upon millions of black Americans with few exceptions. A criminal illegal alien from Mexico and a member of such and such, his compadre, who's been convicted of a weapons offense as an aggravated felony. He's also has pending charges for carrying a prohibited weapon and amphetamine possession. Isn't it funny how they sit there and put weapons offense as an aggravated felony, but it's compadre up here when it says that 2 counts of, oh, my bad, don't worry about that. So 2 counts of felony illegal imagery, 2 counts of felony illegal imagery, 2 counts. And there's ones that have done several reentries. Now let that black American man do that. Black American man go across that Mexican border or go across other countries and pull that and see what happens. This person right here, a criminal illegal alien from Cuba, an active member of such and such, the other compadres who's been convicted of a dangerous drug charges as an aggravated felony selling cocaine. Does he look like again, black and brown? Does he look like a super people of color? Huh? Communities of color? Huh? And the Cuba part, some good numbers of Cubanos. But we talk about more Afro-Cubanos. There are some good ones too, Afro-Cubanos, right? The problem is how many Anglo-Cubanos, the ones it applies to, who have fled, and how many times the open doors of policy have allowed numbers of them to come in and take over different places, little Cuba, whatever, other different places, et cetera, et cetera. You get the point, right? Huh? And they allow more Anglo-Cubanos to come to America than anything else. See how this goes, right? Wannabe white Cubanos. And there's a few little, anyway, going on. You get the point, right? This part here. A criminal alien from Mexico and an active member of their other compadres. He's been convicted of 7 drug crimes, including cocaine possession and trespassing. 13 counts of, God dang, 13 counts. God dang. You know what? He deserves his own particular part. Let me say this again for him. This guy right here, you see right here, a criminal, this guy right here, because just in case I decide to clip this particular part of this topic and utilize this part. this guy right here, who's not going to practice black and brown unity, by the way, this guy right here, you see his name, a criminal illegal alien from Mexico, an active member of the such and such gang. He's been convicted of 7 drug crimes, including cocaine possession and trespassing, 13 counts of illegal reentry. Let me repeat this, 13 counts of illegal reentry. That's a felony. One is a felony. He's a 12 times felon on this. Possession of fraudulent immigration documents and trespassing. He also has pending charges for felony weapon offense, shoplifting, property damage, and dangerous drugs. But these are some of the, you got people in various parts of Minnesota, various Anglos, some sprinkle of some Black Americans, some other immigration groups, entities who have their own biases and sinister agendas. These people are trying to protect this kind of person, this kind of inhuman violence type person who would sit there and just as soon look at you and remove your life. And this is what they trying to protect in Minnesota? Talking about no ICE? Would you understand that? These people don't want no ICE. They don't want any Customs and Border Patrol, because that's 2 different people. Sometimes people confuse that. ICE is their own situation. Customs and Border Patrol is more toward the borders. ICE is 2 different things, right? They don't want none of that. You see this guy here, a criminal illegal alien from Mexico. Do you see some pattern here? An active member of, do you see this pattern here too? Who's been convicted of 9 counts of burglary, 3 counts of assault, 2 counts of larceny, obstructing enforcement, but at the same time, right, they want to sit there and say, oh my goodness, ICE is bad. Do you see that? You said this goes, right? Public order crimes, damage to property, unauthorized use of a vehicle, drug possession, possession of fraudulent immigration documents, and 7 counts of illegal reentry. Oh my goodness, boy. This is embarrassing, man. Golly. Another non-black and brown coalition type person, right? You see this guy here, a criminal border break illegal immigrant from Mexico again. Again, you see the major pattern here. The number 1 amount of immigration group within Hispanicism, ex-Mexicans. And there are some good Mexican brothers and sisters out there. And there are some good Mexican brothers and sisters out there. They know that their person is grandmama, or grandpa, or mama, or daddy, a great grandpa. You know what I'm talking about? They can't stand Afro-Mexicanos. Oh, they can't stand them, right? But they get in Black Americans' faces and pretend they give a damn about Black Americans. They don't give a damn about Black Americans. They can't stand the damn sidewalk that Black Americans walk on, right? Because no Black Americans is an immigrant. No Black Americans isn't a border break illegal immigrant, right? And they can't stand that. Do you understand? Just like Tethers and some other people. And he's an active member of the same thing. You see the seems to be a little pattern, doesn't it? Who's been convicted of drug trafficking. Oh, we got a white wannabe Asian one. Huh? See this guy here. This is your what? People of color or pseudo non-black people of color. This is your what? Marginalized communities. This is your what? Model minority. Huh? You see the games how these people play. It's like I did a podcast or included before, within the last couple of years or so, when there was a certain type personnel that if you say anything certain ways, they'll say you anti-Semitic. Indo-Semitic is language, it's not a people. You got numbers of Black Americans that practice Judaism faith. That's what Jawishism means, right? Judaism, right? Who practice Judaism faith, right? There are numbers of Chinese people who practice Judaism faith. There are numbers of certain Hispanics who practice Judaism faith. You get the point I'm getting at, but you got people that have grabbed up and told people that Judaism faith meaning Jawishism, right, means that it's a certain look of a people, but it's not a race, it's not ethnicity. What is it then? Oh, it's not important. You see the game with that. But that's a whole different topic in itself. But the point I'm getting at, however, personnel use certain type of white Asianists to help strike down what was supposed to be a racial quota system, which had nothing to do with Black Americans. And they used, I think it was Harvard and the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, and maybe some other type big time Ivy League schools. But two of those was the main type ones. I think they was trying to do that to help strike down supposed to be a racial quota system. And again, they utilize certain white Asianists, right? Because how many of them have the audacity to try to hate Black Americans? But numbers of the white Asianists, the ones applies to, they want to be Anglo bad. Do you understand this? Do you understand? And the system knows that quite a number of Black Americans don't get it, with a few exceptions. The great Dr. John Henry Clark, some people take it out of context, some people don't. But literally, Black Americans collectively really don't have any group or entity friends. They may have individuals, slight individuals, but no Black Americans collectively do not have group dynamic friends whatsoever. But at the same time, you got other people and other groups and entities that want Black Americans to put their lives on the line, like for the border break illegal immigrants in Minnesota and all these different places. Do you understand how crazy it sounds? But these people literally look at Black Americans as foods collectively. So this border break illegal immigrant is from Laos and a member of the such and such people who's been convicted of 2 felony dangerous drug charges, DUI, carrying a concealed weapon, possession of amphetamine, rioting, weapon possession, and damage to property. Oh, but he's just coming from a marginalized community, right? He's a model minority, right? He has a pending charge for additional DUI. But again, this is your non-Black people of color, right? This is your communities of color, right? This is your marginalized communities of color, right? This is your model minority, right? Such and such person, a criminal border break illegal immigrant alien from Guatemala, an active member of the such and such, who has been convicted of possessing child sexual abuse material, an illegal reentry felony. He was also charged with sexual exploitation of a child, which was dismissed. That's sinister right there. That's demon. And he has pending charges for sexual assault. But again, this is the kind of stuff, this is the kind of heinous criminality that you got numbers of personnel, Renee Good, Pratchett, are sitting there protesting, people like them are trying to protest, and they want to rid ICE to not do anything, and want to sit there and say, oh my God, we don't need ICE at all, defund ICE. But when Black Americans, the ones who understand, say, hey man, we need to defund, not only just Black Americans, there was various, numbers of Black Americans, and it wasn't collectively, but it was just like, hey, and some Anglo personnel, very small amount, right? Because again, in collectiveness of various parts of Anglo-Americanism, they don't give a damn about Black Americans, because if collective was, there's no way you would not have an anti-Black American hate crime bill that it would have been an anti-Black American bill legislated by now. If collectively within Anglo-Americanism give a damn about Black Americans, they wanted to correct or at least restore certain type of justices for the past, which there's no such thing as one-time thing. But that would have been a good start, and some kind of reparations, right? Where's the same type of people within various Anglo-Americanism who are jumping up and down about this? Quiet. I ain't got to do with slavery, but at the same time, but anti-Black Americanism is still going on in America. Do you see how much these people don't give a damn about Black Americans collectively? But at the same time, they say nothing about, we had nothing to do with removing what we call Native Americans from their supposed to be land. We're not going to go into all that, because you can go back as far as you want. And what we call Native American history, whatever that's supposed to mean, right? And you still have archaeological artifacts, archaeological scenarios that show people that were here in some kind of way that predate what we call Native Americans in America. They don't want to talk about that. This other person, violent, inhuman, non-black, or your black and brown, what criminality, right? Mythological, right? Member, right? A Puerto Rican illegal immigrant from Mexico, an active member of such and such gangs, who's been convicted of robbery, kidnapping, and 2 counts of illegal entry, felony, right? He also has pending charges for DUI. Again, this is your black and brown mythological member, right? Huh? These are the type of inhuman violence, right? Type of criminality type personnel, right? Within white Hispanicism and white Asianism, once applies to, you get the point, et cetera, right? All these other groups too, don't get it confused. Or people, some individual and some groups as well, don't get it confused, right? But I'm showing you this particular, what was in this correspondence here. Like this. Now, you may not see a gigantic amount because, first of all, you ain't going to see a lot of Thailandese type people in America like that. They make up an extremely small amount, right? A criminal Puerto Rican illegal immigrant from Thailand and a member of the such and such people, gangs, who's been convicted of 2 counts of homicide, assault. But you're just going to look at his face, right? Oh, he looks so innocent. And those are ones that are very deadly too as well. Now, all going to look like this, right? No, that face. Someone will look like this that you don't even pay attention to. You think, oh, that looks like such a sweet type of model minority, and they'll get you with that. Who's been convicted of 2 counts of homicide, assault, vehicle theft, 2 counts of property damage, 3 counts of stolen property, one of which was a vehicle in possession of narcotics equipment. He also has pending charges for arson of a residence. But these are the people, again, various parts of Minnesota and however other sanctuary cities. These are these Puerto Rican illegal immigrants and violent creatures and humans, right? That people are trying to protect in these cities and towns and places, right? And a few little sprinklings of Black Americans being very gullible and naive to sit there and march for this? Are you crazy? And they just enough to sit there and walk over the bodies of Black Americans who get lynched. Right? Do you understand? Another Puerto Rican illegal immigrant, right? This is your, again, black and brown, right? Member, right? Such as person, a Puerto Rican illegal immigrant, criminal illegal alien from El Salvador, and a member of a super violent type of gangs who's been convicted of offense under the Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act, the RICO charge. Boy, You can report crimes of suspicious activity by dialing 1-866-DHS-2ICE, 1-866-347-2423, or completing the online tip form. But at the same time, you got people that act like this ain't happening, right? So you got people that do just like this.
Oh, brings it here into the bed. Oh, I see nothing. I was not here. I did not even get up this morning.
I
don't believe this is happening. Only fools refuse to believe the truth.
See it again.
I don't believe this is happening. Only fools refuse to believe the truth.
I thank you for tuning in to the Real CP Show.